Hello and welcome back. Here we are today and we're going to continue to work on our 1-point perspective room. We are on lesson 4.09 today and we're talking about adding a dresser to our composition. Again, I will say that you do not have to add a dresser to your composition. A dresser is a rectangular prism and can be adapted and made into lots of other things, maybe a computer station or an entertainment station or a bookshelf. But we're going to talk today about how to draw a dresser. You do need to have three-dimensional objects in your room, and a dresser would count. So let's jump into this and take a look at how to draw a dresser. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that for right now. And we're going to go ahead and open up our project. So I'm going to go to the File Explorer, and I'm going to click on Documents, Digital Art, 1-point perspective room, find our room project, and I'm going to right-click on that project, go to Open With, and tell it to open with the program Paint. All right, there is our project so far. Again, I'm telling you to work from the foreground to the background, so the most foreground space that I can put a dresser would be right over here on this left wall. So I'm going to put it right over here. We're going to start drawing the dresser by drawing the left side of the dresser, and the drawers will be on the right side of the dresser. So we're going to go, or the front, I guess, of the dresser. So we are going to start by drawing this side. We're going to go to our rectangular prism, or our rectangle tool. I'm going to start a little bit away from the wall. Again, I don't like to have it kiss. And we're going to draw out and up. How tall do you want your dresser to be? Is it an armoire or is it just a small dresser? You decide. So I'm going to make it, let's say, we'll go like that. It is a double wide line right now, so I am going to make that a single line width. I should have done that first. That is the side of our dresser. So I'm going to continue to draw this, and I'm going to do this as if it was a rectangular prism because it's super simple, and it is. So I'm going to start at my vanishing point. I'm going to draw to the top corner. I'm going to start at my vanishing point again, and I'm going to draw to the back top left corner. And then I'm going to do one at the bottom right corner. Lined up. All right, now I have to decide how long this dresser is going to be. Is it going to go the whole way to the back wall? It's not a bad idea. What else am I going to put in that space back there? So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to start on this diagonal line that is the bottom of the dresser. And I'm going to go fairly close to that back wall. And because the front of that is a perfectly straight line, this back edge of that shape should also be a perfectly straight line. Remember, I am only drawing straight lines or lines that go back to the vanishing point. The top of the dresser is on the left side is a perfectly horizontal line that meets up with this diagonal. So at that new intersection here, I'm going to do a perfectly straight line that meets up at the diagonal of the back edge of the dresser. All right, it looks a little flat back there, but that is what it's supposed to. As it gets closer to that vanishing point, that will happen. At this point, I'm going to start the process of cleanup. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to get my eraser tool, and I'm going to get rid of the lines that I don't need, going beyond my rectangular prism or dresser back to that vanishing point. Okay, and I don't need the line going through the baseboard that would have been the bottom of the dresser. And I also, if I'm looking very carefully here, do not need this little tiny triangle piece. So I'm going to erase that diagonal. Now, looking at the rectangular prism for the dresser, I don't need any of the interior room lines. So this wall line can go away. The baseboard inside the shape can go away. And the floor lines inside the shape can go away. I have to be very careful that I don't erase lines that I need. Remember, neatness counts here. Every pixel is important. And so we need to make sure we are only erasing what we need and keeping, Control Z, what we do need. All right, this is another floor line inside my shape. I don't need that. There's a little bit of an extension down here. I also don't want that. All right, I've got a couple of small pixels here inside that are still this wall. So I'm going to erase these as well. All right, zooming out. So that is going to be my dresser shape. So now I have to decide what style dresser am I going to do. Am I going to do one with panels on the front? The whole panel comes off. Is it going to be like just a rectangle that fills the whole space? Is it going to be divided in half? There are going to be multiple drawers. What is this going to look like? So to start this process, you have to kind of know whether you want what you want it to look like. Okay, very simply, I can do a very simple example with a line, and we're going to start at the vanishing point, and I'm going to draw, and I'm just going to divide the whole face into drawers. Let's see, make that one a little bit longer. There. Okay, and so you could stop there, clean up those lines, traveling back to the vanishing point. And you could call that pretty well done. You could put drawer handles on that, and that would be perfectly acceptable. If you want to go a little further and you want to make this have a little more detail, you could divide some of the drawers with a vertical. Knowing that, undo, the drawers closer to you are going to be larger than the drawers farther away. Come on. There we go. Okay, so you could do something like that. Again, you could put knobs on them like we did with the door. It's totally up to you. Or you could start thinking about making this even more complicated. So I'm going to do 2 complicated drawers on the bottom. So I'm going to start by drawing in a left and a right, perfectly straight for these drawers. Don't like that line. Okay, remember I'm trying to keep big chunky details. I do need another line here in the middle, and I need a couple of top lines. So these are going to have faces or panels on the front. Okay, and then the last thing, I am going to put a drawer handle on this one and this one. All right, so I've got a lot of lines here, so I'm going to zoom in and show you how I would go about cleaning this up. Easiest thing to do is first, we're going to start with all the lines that are beyond it, going back to the vanishing point that we don't need. So clean those up. Anything that was part of the dresser or what you just drew goes away. And inside your baseboard, clean that up as well. Lovely. Okay, now I'm going to make my tool much smaller, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, okay, this is a drawer handle, so I'm going to get rid of the rest of this line. I don't need that whole thing. Get rid of that. And I'm going to come down, whoops, Control Z, come down, something like that, and get rid of the rest of that. I also don't need these connectors that are connecting the drawers together, so I'm going to delete out some of these extra pixels here. Looks good here at the bottom. Coming across still looks good. I think there's an extra pixel there I don't need. And then on this side, I don't need the drawers connected to the outside edge, and I don't need the drawers connected to each other. So I can get rid of those. I am missing a couple pixels, so I'm going to come back in and just put that one in and that one. And now that drawer, those drawers are a little more detailed. I could put the same detail in the drawers at the top and do that, and that would be perfectly fine. I think the only thing that I'm looking at, if I'm kind of mixing furniture styles here, that I do want to create some unity. So I think I'm going to put some drawer handles on these top drawers at least. Something simple that matches what I've been doing. And so I'll just put, coming kind of down from that. And let me zoom back out. All right, so you kind of have some examples. You can, again, dress that up however you would like, but that's a very basic kind of construction of a dresser that you can draw in your composition. So I'm going to hit that Save button up at the top, and I'm going to go ahead and get my Snip and Sketch tool going here. I'm going to click on the New button. I'm going to start up here in the top left-hand corner, drag down across the composition, get most of that program in that snip. I'm going to hit the Save button on my Snip and Sketch program. I'm going to make sure that this screenshot is in my Documents, in my Digital Art folder, and in my Screenshot folder. This is lesson 4.09, Screenshot. And I'll click Save. I now have that screenshot. I'm going to copy it to my clipboard just in case. I'll paste that into my daily sketchbook to show my progress for the day. If you have any questions about drawing your dresser or taking your screenshot or your sketchbook, please reach out and let me know. Otherwise, enjoy the process.